Hold that thought, everybody. I'm David Cruz. I wish there was a more complicated and nuanced story to tell about the recent governor's race, but it was a pretty clear trouncing of Republican Jack Ciattarelli by Democrat Mikey Sherrill. Was it all Donald Trump? Probably, as our first guest will likely confirm. We welcome to Hold That Thought, Senator John BRAMNIck. Senator, how you doing, man? Welcome.
Good to see you, David.
So I'll give you the first opportunity here to say, I told you so, because you've been saying this for years now.
Well, it was a sad night for Republicans, but you can't go out there like Jack did and say, I'm 100% MAGA. First of all, what if a Democrat said, I'm 100% Bernie Sanders or I'm 100% AOC? Democrats don't do that. Why would we do that? Look, I never thought Jack was a great candidate to begin with. But once he said, or once the president said he's 100% MAGA, people want you to be 100% New Jersey, period, and destroy. And also, a lot of people in my party who live in districts that are 100, or should say, very heavy Republican, they forget they live in New Jersey. I mean, I live in a district, that has 7,000 more Democrats. So I hear by both sides. And as a result of that, my two friends, my two assembly running mates lost.
Yeah. That's kind of a result of how nationalized this race became, right? Because, Steve Fulop, who was enjoying the past month poking his finger in the eye of Democrats, said that without Donald Trump, Jack Ciattarelli would have been up by 12 points. Do you agree with that?
Well, no, I don't. Look, Steve Phillips is a friend, but he was so unhappy. He worked so hard. I
Yeah.
mean, he really looked like he was just mad that he lost, which to me is no way, to come out against your own party, to be honest with you.
So was Jack Ciattarelli ever ahead in this race? Because we all thought this was a really close race. You must have thought this was a really close race, no?
Well, the experts thought it was a close race. So I watched every poll. So did people think it was close? Of course they did. But for some reason, polls today, I don't know why. That's all they do. They're experts, and they can't figure out that she's up 10 points. There were a couple polls that did that, and people thought that was nuts. I don't really understand why polling hasn't gotten any better.
It's weird because so much, the technology is so much better, but also I think we don't trust pollsters like we don't trust journalists.
Well, I would trust pollsters if they got it right.
Right.
And well, first of all, I trust journalists who don't come to the table with a certain side. And we've got people
Yeah.
who do that. Now blogs are I'm either 100% Trump or 100%, Democrat. If you get somebody who really is in the middle, like I used to think Michael Aaron was like that, and I think you're like that.
So Trump didn't help either, right? The tunnel project that he canceled and then the government shut down, SNAP benefits.
Well, a combination of things, but I think the bottom line was this. This was the first opportunity for Democrats to react to President Trump. They had no other way of expressing their views. And in addition, they had watched two close elections. They had seen Kamala Harris only win by 6 points. They saw Jack lose by 3 points. So the Democrats, and I know this is a fact, those machines were in high gear. But trying to bring people out is one thing. They have to be motivated by something else. When Barack Obama was running, they were motivated by Barack Obama and the first African American candidate. This time the machine was engaged, a Democratic machine, and they were motivated to send a message to Donald Trump. And once again, once Jack, and of course, once he was anti-Trump, then it was pro-Trump, but that wasn't the issue. Once he didn't separate himself from Donald Trump, he got caught up in the Democratic machine. It seems to me if the president wanted Jack to win, he should have taken Jack outside the Lincoln Tunnel, put his arm around him and say, if this guy wins, man, I'm going to make sure this gets done. Or take them to places by the Jersey Shore and say, there's never going to be wind down here because of Jack. But he didn't do that. I don't know why, but I still think that we could have run Jesus Christ this year and we probably would have lost.
Yeah. So this was Jack Ciattarelli's third try. You were, I don't even know if you endorsed him, but you were lukewarm towards him. Is that enough now? Should Jack Ciattarelli step aside?
Well, I think the voters told him to step aside. I don't think there's any doubt when you lose by 12 or 13 points, your political career is questionable, if not over. So the answer is you run three times. The only person I think who lost three times was Jim Florio. So I would say, bye bye, Jack. And I don't think he would run again. I think it'd be silly. I don't think he's the future of our party, that's for sure.
So what now for the party in New Jersey? I mean, I remember talking to you about this. I mean, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, while MAGA continued to supposedly take control of of the Republican Party in New Jersey. Now what? Are we going to have a correction back to, the Tom Kaine Sr. Republicans?
Well, you would hope so. If history is clear. The only Republicans who've won in New Jersey are Christie Todd Whitman, at least in my lifetime. Christie Todd Whitman, Tom Kaine Sr., and Chris Christie. And if you remember, Chris Christie was the moderate in that race. He ran against Steve Lonigan. So listen, if you want to continue to think you live in Kentucky, right, or Indiana, that's fine. And I got Republicans who continue to have all kinds of big. I put something out there. Oh, it's fixed. It's rigged. Look, if you want to accept reality, we have to run moderate Republicans who have a heart, who aren't just mad at the Democrats, who can treat Democrats with respect and not be hostile. And until we do that, guess what? We're going to be in a minority. We just lost 5 seats. Here's what I say to the people who don't like me. I go like this. Hey, look at the voting results. Look at what just happened. So, well, what do you want me to tell you? I mean, I was screaming from a rooftop. People go like this. Oh, he's a Democrat. He's a rhino. Yeah, guess what? I keep winning in a Democratic district.
Well, so what now, though? I mean, who gets the party together? Who unites the party? Who do you think is a future leader of this party?
Look, until the people who keep losing recognize how we have to act as Republicans, which are Jersey Republicans, the party's not going to win. You know what I said? There's some people out there with, I think, strong voices, but not loud and not louder than the far right. So what do you want me to tell you? I mean, keep saying the same thing over again, and people say, "Oh, John Bramnick, he's not a real Republican," or like this. Okay, I mean,
So
I don't know what else to say.
you're a long time leader in this party. What role do you want to play in shaping things, or are you just going to observe and let them do what they want to do?
Well, I'm going to hope that people see my record of winning in a Democratic district. I'm hoping that they see that I believe in the historic values of the Republican Party, but I also believe in humanity and treating people with respect. I'm hoping they come around and believe that I think my path is correct. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know what I'm running for, but I tell you right now, I'm not going to leave this planet without trying to convince the Republican Party we can't change anything unless we win. And we're not going to win if we think we're a Republican Party in Kentucky.
All right, Senator John Bramnick, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Dave. Best of luck to you.
The other race that we were watching closely was the race for mayor of Jersey City, where downtown councilman James Solomon will face off against former Governor Jim McGreevey in a runoff in December. We had a chance to talk to both gentlemen. Let's start with Councilman Solomon. Councilman, good to see you. Thanks for coming on, man.
David, good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
So I was saying to you earlier that you don't look that tired.
Feeling great. I was up at 7 a.m. at the West Side Light Rail Station, canvassing, letting voters know that there's a runoff. And, for my perspective is people at Jersey City work hard. the person who wants to lead them should work just as hard. So I'm going to be out every day between now and December 2nd talking to voters.
You said all gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
Until
We're going to work our butts off.
so this was a very close race. Three of you had over 20%.
Mhm.
Is this kind of what you expected?
Yeah, first of all, you had, five really strong candidates. Obviously, both Bill O'Day and Musab Ali performed really well. I mean, they both earned roughly 20%, point here, point there, but they both had really strong bases of support. Bill, extraordinary record of public service on the West Side. Musab really inspired young voters to come out in numbers that we've never seen before in Jersey City. So they had really strong bases. Obviously, the former governor had $5 million of machine money that sort of propped his campaign up. And then we had a real connection to voters. We were so proud to have over 2,000 donors and volunteers from Jersey City on our race. So the people of Jersey City, really kind of, backing our campaign. So we were confident that with that backing and then a message that I'm the candidate to deliver change and make Jersey City affordable, that we need to have developers building genuinely affordable apartments at rents 1,000 and under, capping rental increases, stabilizing property taxes, that message was going to resonate with the base of volunteers to knock on over 200,000 doors.
In your mind, does the former governor not have a natural base in Jersey City?
Yeah, I don't think he does. Certainly not to the same degree as any of the other three candidates we mentioned, myself, Bill O'Day, or Musab. Ultimately, he spent twice as much as I did, 5 million to 2.5, and he got fewer votes. And I think, obviously money does matter in politics. But I think at the end of the day, and what we're going to see in the runoff is voters are looking for candidates who are connected to their communities and can deliver change. And I think that I'm proud to kind of be that candidate. And I think ultimately that's why I have confidence I'll succeed.
Yeah, the folks who kind of analyze all this stuff suggested that your weakness was that you were just the downtown candidate and had not infiltrated the rest of the voters across the city. Where did you do well
Yeah.
this week that you didn't think you were going to do well,
Yeah.
or that you specifically targeted?
Yeah. Look, first, we won the Heights. I feel very, very proud to win the Heights, overwhelmingly on the areas east of Central. But in the Western Slope, we won votes in every precinct of a substantial margin. And I think voters are really looking for change. And I think the Heights was a real success story. We won some precincts in Ward A, as well as, really strong showing in Journal Square. So I think we showed that we have real reach across the whole city. And there's also a reason I was on the West Side this morning. The West Side is where, Bill O'Day won so many votes because people know and trust Bill, as they should. And for me, I'm going to be spending a lot more time on the West Side in the next 28 days to earn the trust of the voters there.
Are you expecting that those two guys are going to support you, or have they already?
Well, so I'm going to work my butt off to earn their endorsement. And for me, that's the thing is you earn people's support. You don't expect it. You don't think it's ever given to you. You earn it. So I believe that, I am the candidate that best aligns with both Musab and Bill's issues, right? Both Musab and Bill ran with some really thoughtful policy platforms. Musab had bold ideas on transportation. Bill had really thoughtful ideas on how to get our budget under control. And I think I'm the candidate that best aligns with their vision for Jersey City. So I believe I will earn their endorsement, but you got to earn it and you got to ask. So hopefully that'll happen.
You'd bring them into the administration in some way as
In
advisors.
whatever way they would be willing to serve. They're both really smart, thoughtful people. I mean, Bill's wealth of experience is incredible. Musab's ability to inspire was incredible. So would love to have both of them. But I won't be presumptuous. I will ask.
What are the big differences, do you think, between yourself and Jim McGreevey?
I think the biggest difference is change versus the status quo. The former governor is running a campaign that's out of a playbook that machine politicians have used for decades in New Jersey. And the problem with that playbook is it doesn't make people's lives better, right? It should go to the most powerful political bosses in the state and you get their support. Then you go to the most wealthy real estate developers in the city and you get their support. And then you use their money to just flood people's mailboxes, buy every billboard in the city, and hope that that sort of overwhelming show of money delivers you the votes you need. But when you get into office, you don't actually deliver for working people because you got to pay back the political bosses who want to raise property taxes to get jobs and contracts. And you got to allow the developers to build luxury only housing because that's how they make their money. To me, that is the model that has failed in New Jersey year after year. It has failed in Jersey City. And so to me, the core difference is he's on that status quo model and we're on a change model. My campaign is based on grassroots, 2,000 donors and volunteers. We are actually proposing detailed, substantive policies to make people's lives more affordable. Those caps on rent increases, going after corruption to stabilize property taxes. And ultimately, I think voters want affordability and they want a mayor they can trust. And I think I can deliver on both. And I think with the former governor, you're not going to get someone who's going to make progress on either an affordable Jersey City or fighting corruption.
Does some of the scandal in his past, is it relevant today? And do voters even know about it? I mean,
Sure.
20 years.
Yeah, no, no. Well, I think there are two things that are relevant. I think the first thing that's important and relevant is to state clearly that the former governor resigned because of corruption. That was why he resigned. He was under multiple different investigations. Multiple members of his senior staff resigned, and that he touts his experience, but that's not experience we want. Experience running a corrupt administration that results in disgraceful resignations is not what is going to help make people's lives better in Jersey City. The second thing that's important is the same corrupt cast of characters who got him in trouble, or he got himself in trouble with 25 years ago, are surrounding him today. And look no further than Charles Kushner, right? Charles Kushner engaged in some of the most despicable behavior that I have ever seen reported in the world of politics. And instead of Jim McGreevey saying, hey, you know what, I'm not going to seek this guy's support, he went back and got him to fund this mayoral campaign. Charles Kushner, who's in part of Donald Trump's family, who has funded the MAGA movement, who has been part of the attacks on immigrants and LGBTQ members of our community, right? That's someone you stay away from. That's not someone you actively solicit their support and money the way the former governor has. So to me, that's relevant because that's today. That's not 25 years ago. That is, he made the choice to kind of partner with some of Donald Trump's closest friends to seek his own personal power story. Yeah.
What are the top two things that we're going to see in the
Yeah.
first 100 days of a Solomon administration?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the first thing is we're going to get our budget under control to stabilize property taxes.
That's not a first day thing, though, is it?
Well, so yes and no. I mean, you got to start the process, right? You got to audit. You got to audit every department. You have to develop your plan, and it has to start on day one. So you're right. It's not as if on day one it'll immediately happen.
Yeah.
I think the second thing is our legislation to get rent prices under control. Our legislation to cap rental prices is going to come quickly. We are going to keep people in their homes.
All right, Councilman James Solomon, congratulations, man.
Thank you,
Thanks for
David.
coming on, and we'll see you out there.
I'll see you out there.
All right, Jim McGreevey joins us this morning. Governor, good to see you. Congratulations. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks, David. It's good to be with you.
So you have run for office. You've run for mayor. You've run for governor. You ran for assembly. Here you are running for mayor in another town. I'm curious what the difference is. How is this campaign different from other campaigns?
No, it's a great question. I mean, I think fundamentally local campaigns, David, are different from statewide campaigns. You have to know the local neighborhood, the local bodega, the shopping, where not only the small business community, but you have to know what people's concerns are. And I think in Jersey City, a lot of it has to do with affordability. Property taxes have gone up, rents have gone up. I think people are concerned about the basics, whether it's safe and clean streets. And people are also concerned about their children's education and the lack of available recreation opportunities, whether it's a recreational.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm kind of just talking about how you handled the campaigns. How's it different? Are you a different candidate now than you were when you ran for mayor of Woodbridge, for instance, or when you ran for governor?
No, I don't think that I'm so materially different, but I think you've got to know the local neighborhoods, and the local neighborhoods are sort of shape your direction. And obviously, you have Greenville, you have Lafayette, you have the Heights. They're all unique neighborhoods, different from downtown, different from any section. And so you just have to be aware of the local flavor and the local character.
Are you living in Greenville? Where are you?
No, that's where my family's from. My
Yes,
family's
I know
from
that. Yeah.
Park Street. Yeah, in Arlington Avenue. No, I'm on Garrison Avenue, if you
Okay.
will, between Journal Square and McGinley,
Right.
and between the Boulevard and West Side.
So where did you do well? I mean, you haven't been here like some other, like for instance, James Solomon has been councilman for 8 years downtown, and that's his base, right? So you don't have a natural base. Where did you do well that you didn't think you were going to do well, and vice versa?
No, I think I did well with, if you will, with working class communities throughout Jersey City. I mean, people who work for a living, people who, pay their taxes or pay their rents, and they want to do better for themselves and for their children. So I think, when you look at James did very well, and downtown, which is bluntly, more affluent, sort of, if you will, part of the market rate housing boom in Jersey City, but I would have done better in old Jersey City. I mean, the traditional parts of Jersey City,
Yeah.
Bergen, Lafayette, the Heights, etc., Journal Square.
You also make no apologies for raising $5 million because this is the big rap on you is that, look, he's got millions and millions of dollars. You make no apologies for raising the amount of money that you raised, right?
Well, I mean, it's I don't know whether it's a matter of apology or not apology, but it's the rules of the game that
Yeah.
you have to raise money in order to deliver that message. And in a city that is complicated, David, I would say this, in a city as complicated as Jersey City, with as many pocket niches, it's also difficult to try to reach individuals in those respective communities one at a time. And
Yeah.
it's also understanding that what happens downtown is very different than what happens in Greenville, what happens on MLK.
You think James Solomon is more than a downtown guy, or I feel like you're suggesting that he's part of the newcomers, more affluent, less ties to Jersey City. Is that where you're putting him?
Well, I think that's as a matter of truth. I mean, that's a
That's
matter
where
of,
he is where
yeah,
you.
that's where,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a matter of accuracy. That's who he is and
yeah.
where he's from, and where he's represented in terms of downtown. So, I mean, I think if you look at if you look at the trajectory of James's life, I mean, that's where he resides.
What's the biggest difference between Jim McGreevey and James Solomon? You're both Democrats, I assume mostly progressive.
I think the difference is, David, I think the difference is what we've done. And I do think that, I say this respectfully, but I mean, part of it is your life story does shape you. And whether whether it's grappling with the cost of childcare, whether the cost of a college education, rental payments on your home. I think candidly, James has probably been isolated from a lot of those concerns by virtue of who he is and where his family is from. And so I think those experiences do shape you. Those experiences do shape your sympathies, your gut, your emotional context.
You you say that about him as he was growing up, but today he's a dad and probably shares a lot of those concerns, I'd imagine. You would
Yeah,
say.
but I don't think. Yeah, I think he shares those concerns, those human concerns, as a father and as
Yeah.
a husband, but I mean, in terms of the financial concerns, I think it's a different milieu, different experience.
What's the top two things of Mayor McGreevy's
I, I
100
think
days?
I think the first, if I could, the first three things would be
Go ahead.
obviously, trying to control taxes, right? You have to control taxes. And you have to control taxes not only for the homeowner, but also for the renter, because taxes have a pernicious impact. Taxes impact all of us. Whether you're renting as David Cruz on 25 Garrison or you own, taxes have a direct impact. Second is, and I think this is important, is when looking at affordability citywide and looking at where we can create more housing, not only market rate housing, workforce housing, affordable housing, senior housing. I think that those are all areas that are so critically important because you want to maintain that investment, but affordability is so critically important for the people that have lived here for generations. And third is education. I I mean, you need to make sure that all of our children, regardless of zip code, regardless of neighborhood, can have access to a good education. And also for children on the spectrum, an individualized education program.
Are you going to be looking for endorsements from the other two candidates who really were over 20% or close to 20% in this race? Musab Ali and Bill O'Day?
Well, I mean, just
But they trashed you. I don't know if you paid attention, but
yeah. No, but no, I just like have good relationships with Musab. I have good relationship. Billy's been a friend of mine for years, for decades, as a matter of fact. And so, I mean, people will do what they do, but I mean, for me, what's most important is that I reach the voters. And I say to the voters, it makes a difference. This is a really difficult job when you're talking about a $700 million budget for the city, when you're talking about a $1.1 billion budget for the school district, David. That's $1.8 billion. And no disrespect, but James has never managed anything. And so that's a heck of a way to learn on the job. And there's a price to that because there's a price to mistakes. And so that's why I think there's a discernible difference, respectfully, between Councilman Solomon and myself.
they talk about the scandals in your past, and your 20 years since then. Are they relevant and today? And do voters, when you're out on the street, do they bring them up to you?
I mean, they may be relevant to individuals. It's not for me to say what's relevant and what's not relevant. People typically don't raise it, but I mean, if they did, I'd be glad to answer any questions or concerns. But yeah, but I mean, I think what's far more relevant is the quality of the cleanliness of the streets, is the e-bike that's knocking over grandma, is
Yeah.
the education plan that's not working. I mean, it's not, I think politicians, myself included, think it's about us, but I really think that overwhelmingly it's about people. It's about how are you going to change their lives.
So are you a change agent or are you tweaking the status quo?
I think I'm a change agent here in Jersey City because I haven't been part of the status quo. I haven't been part of the government. I mean, if you look, I mean, that's the ultimate irony for me. It's I'm not part of the milieu. I mean, what I've done for these past many years is reentry, work with people that are coming home from prison or jail or addiction or veterans. So I've been outside of that political milieu, David. So I would argue that I bring a different set of eyes and a different passion. But no, I haven't been part of the day-to-day mix in Hudson County.
So you're like a newcomer.
Well, I wouldn't say like I'm a newcomer. I live here and I work
Recruits.
here. Yeah, but I mean but I think I do bring a different set of eyes. I do bring a different set of eyes, and I see areas that are bluntly that are of concern. And so those areas are whether it's taxes, affordability, cleanliness, transportation. Yeah, those are areas that are concerned.
All right, eyes to see as we go forward. And that's Jim McGreevy. Thanks for coming on. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you. And how are you doing there, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for
Good,
listening, man.
good. Well, it's good to talk to a Jersey City voter.
Yes. And that's Hold That Thought for this week. Thanks also to James Solomon and John Bramnick for joining us earlier. Remember to like and subscribe, folks. The buttons are right there all over your screen. I'm David Cruz. Thanks for streaming. We'll see you next week.